So, see guys, in this session, we will be dealing with, in particular, how to make notes. So, I have deliberately chosen a book called Political Theory. Somehow you have already covered the same, each one of you. Okay. So, while doing the reading or while doing, just say, demonstrating how to pick up the keywords and what goes in my mind, you need not to necessarily copy the same. You can have your own content at your disposal. Okay, you can have your own content at your disposal, but focus on the process. Focus on the process, the way I am delivering the things. Rather than going for what am I doing, you have to relate how you are supposed to do the same. At every point, I'm going to make it clear why I am including this in my notes or why I will include that in my notes. Okay, that will be the only purpose. To keep this session at this moment, reason for the same, yes, this is October, as I said. Once you are into tempo, those who are in the tempo, you guys can come into the notes making. Those who are not, at least you can try for your optionals. Even if you are unable to make notes for all the 4 papers, try for 2 papers, 1 paper, whatever it is. Okay. So just let me know when my screen is visible to you guys. Hope my screen is visible.
Yes, sir.
Fine. So I think we should take the chapter equality. Okay. So I'll tell you, or shall I go with the nationalism or secularism? Whatever you say, I will take
So
one chapter.
secularism.
Okay, fine. So, see, whenever we are reading anything, okay, just please mute yourself. Okay, I don't want any kind of disturbance in between. Okay, so let's start. Just look at the words whenever I am underlining something. So, how generally I make notes? When the different cultures, communities exist within the same country, how should a democratic state structure? So, the very first line it says, why we need secularism. Had it not been there, so I would not have underlined it. How should a democratic state equality for each of it? So Divyansha generally asks me the questions of what is the flow chart for whenever if the questions come for the secularism, I will just write secularism. Okay. It might be a case. Suppose ये थोड़ा छोटा बन गया है. Why? Different culture, communities. Okay, so one flowchart I created over here on. I will keep erasing the things. Okay, जिसको जो बनाना साथ साथ बना लेना अपने पास. बाद में मत बोलना मेरे को सर रुको ये वो फलाना ढिमकाना ब्लैक बोर्ड मत मिटाना ऐसा कुछ नहीं चलेगा. ठीक है. This is the question that emerged in the previous chapter. In this chapter, we will try to see how the concept of secularism may be applied to answer that concern. In India, the idea of secularism is ever present in public debates and discussion. ये फालतू की बात है. Generally, if it is my second reading, I will not even read these words. On one hand, almost every politician says secularism is challenged not only by the clerics and the just background setting. So ज्यादा कुछ है नहीं इसमें. In this chapter we will be dealing these issues. Okay, so just a background. What is a secularism? So Jews faced discrimination for centuries throughout the Europe. In the present state of life, Arab minorities, both Christian and Muslims, are excluded from social, political, and economic benefits available to the Jewish citizens. Okay, hope you guys are able to relate with the Israel-Palestine conflict. So it is not like the Palestine is being discriminated. I will say for last 50 years, but before that, it's Jews that were on receiving ends. So that is how it is. दुनिया गोल है. Subtle forms of discrimination also continue to persist non-Christians in several parts of Europe. The condition of religious minority in neighboring states of Pakistan. Okay. Bangladesh also generated considerable concern. Such examples remind of continuing importance of secularism. Now, background setting. Nothing. Inter-religious domination. ये एक सब हेडिंग हो सकती है आपके किसी आंसर के में. It can be subheading for the secularism related answer. Okay, domination is actually a keyword over here. Let's understand more about it. The Constitution declared that every Indian citizen has right to live with the freedom, dignity, and any part of the country. Which article? Maybe 25 to 29. Maybe you guys know it better. Yet in reality, many forms of exclusion and discrimination continues to consider the three most stark examples. Okay, so 3 examples. What do these examples have in common? They all have to do with the discrimination in form of another. They are being persecuted on the basis of religion, on the basis of religion, on the basis of religion. Okay. In other words, basic freedom of citizens are denied. This is the background building. I might not be interested in making notes over here. Some might even say that these incidents are instances. Okay, fine. Secularism is a doctrine that opposes all forms of. This is the first thing. When people say, sir, what is the actual definition of the secularism? What should be the best? You write 3-4 lines. Equidistant from all the religions, say, wo flana dimkana, blah, blah, blah. NCERT says done and dusted. That's why in the starting itself, I said domination. Actually, whenever a group is trying to dominate, and it is the say government or the society is allowing it to dominate, the state or the society cannot be secular. Jewish allowed themselves to dominate over the Gaza Strip. Certainly, Palestinians were on receiving end when it comes. This is, however, only one crucial aspect concept of secularism. So what others? This particular topic na gave me idea कि कुछ आने वाला है. So what I will say? Secularism. I'm not going to write all things. I will just write inter-religious domination. Okay, this is an equally important dimension of secular opposition to intra-religious domination. What is intra? Within the community. Okay, inter-religious domination भी नहीं चलेगा. Intra-religious. So if you look, I have already written on not more than 2 lines. I have read almost 1 page. My notes. Now, what is it? Intra-religious domination. Some people believe that religion is mainly opium of masses. Said by Karl Marx. If not Karl Marx, someone else, I guess. When the basic needs of all are fulfilled, then the lead a happy and contented life. Religion will disappear. Such a views comes from an exaggerated sense of human potential. It is unlikely human beings will ever be able to fully know the word and control it. Okay. We may be able to prolong our life, but will never become immortal. Disease can never be entirely eliminated, nor can we get rid of element of accident and luck from our life. Separation and loss are endemic to the human condition, while large part of suffering is a man-made, hence eliminable. So, ethics. Some of you have read how my mind works. Okay, if I'm reading this book for the second or third time, I will say this is the part of ethics. If I just write it ethics, it doesn't mean that before ethics paper I have to read this book. But it might be a case that when I'm revising this book, somehow I will be using this quotation in the ethics itself. Means man-made suffering can be eliminated. ऐसे का अपने आप में टॉपिक है ही अगर आप लोग देखो तो ठीक है. At least some of our suffering is not made by man. Religion, art, and philosophy are the responses to such sufferings. Now it can be conclusion. Question can be asked on the same. It can be one pointer. So a unique point. So what I will do generally, suffering solution. थोड़ा डिजिटल पेन है, इतनी गंदी हैंड राइटिंग है तो क्वेश्चन मत करना, मैं पहले बता रहा हूँ. ठीक है. फर्स्ट सफरिंग, व्हाट आई विल डू, मैन मेड. नॉन मैन मेड. ओके. सॉल्यूशन, रिलीजन, आर्ट एंड फिलोसफी. मैन मेड, eliminate. 4 lines completed in one box for me notes. However, religion has its share some deep-rooted problems. For example, one can hardly think of a religion that treats its male and female members of an equal footing. In religions such as Hinduism, some sections have faced persistent discrimination. For example, Dalits were barred from entering Hindu temples. In some parts of country, Hindu women cannot. These are the already fitted in our brain. So I need not to make any notes. Dalit was a kind of word sometimes you will forget. You will forget while writing in the question paper. You will, n number of places you can be used, Dalit as a word can be used, but you will write marginal, downtrodden. Dalit दिमाग में नहीं आता उस time पे. Hindu movement cannot enter tunnel where the religion is organized. It is frequently taken over by the most conservative faction, which does not tolerate any dissent. Religious fundamentalism. Keyword. If I ask you what is religious fundamentalism, n number of people will not be able to tell, because ये बुक पढ़ते हुए किसी ने गूगल करने की हिम्मत की ही नहीं, क्योंकि you thought fundamentalism is something very unique word or say normal word. But whenever such kind of words comes, just Google it. They have deep meaning. In the parts of US has become big problem and endangers both peace within the country and outside. Many religion fragments, sects leads to frequent sectarian violence, persecution, dissenting minorities. Thus, religious domination cannot be identified only by the inter-religious. It takes another conspicuous form, namely intra-religious, as secularism opposed to all forms of institutionalized religious domination. It challenges not merely inter-religious but also intra-religious domination. So if you look, it is just being repeated what we have already noted down. We now possess general idea of secularism, it normative doctrine which seeks to realize secular society, one devoid of either inter-religious, intra-religious situation. Put positively, it promotes freedom within religion and equality between as well as within. So this is the crux, whatever we have wrote. Within the larger framework, let us now consider, अब आगे फिर फालतू की बातें हैं. Secular state, when it comes कि secular state क्या है? Now see, बहुत कम underline चीजें हैं मेरी, जबकि मैं तब कर पा रहा हूं जब मेरा second या third reading है, because it's a second or third reading of mine. It might be case if you read first time, you will just encircle or underline all of the things. Even if I'm underlining certain things, I haven't written it because it's just a repetition over here. ठीक है, यहाँ पे मैं बात कर रहा हूँ. Now, Secular state, perhaps one way of preventing religious discrimination is to work together for mutual enlightenment. Education is one of the helping to change the mindset of people. Individual example of sharing a mutual help can contribute towards the reducing prejudice. Gyan bazi chalte, nothing. Once you are into the analyzing mode, you can write these things on your own. But it is unlikely that mere education or goodness of some persons will eliminate religious discrimination in modern societies. Have enormous public power. Had it been कि education हो जाता तो अपना ओसामा बिन लादेन भी इंजीनियर था यार, ऐसी बात नहीं है. That is how it is. In modern society, states have अपना means मतलब हमारा नहीं, वो ज्यादा relate मत कर लेना. In modern society, states have enormous public power. This can be used n number of ways. This statement itself. When you talk about a strong state, it can be said why a state needs to do business, why people legitimacy is required, why public private partnership. वहां से ये बिजनेसमैन तो अपने आप भी रोड बना ही सकते हैं ना, but do they have trust of our people? No, because we do not vote for the businessmen. So public, the word is coming over this because states have enormous public power. अपने आप में इंट्रोडक्शन हो सकता है, कई जगह फिट हो सकता है. These kind of lines you should underline just. ये अलग नोट्स में नहीं बनाना, विद इन एनसीईआरटी आप अंडरलाइन कर लीजिए, वो भी बहुत है. विद इन एनसीईआरटी अंडरलाइनिंग यू विल बी एबल टू एक्सट्रैक्ट. ओके, नाउ इफ दिस पेज ओपन्स, only this particular statement will draw your attention. ऊपर कुछ है ही नहीं. Sorry. How the function is bound to make a crucial difference to the outcome of any struggle to create society less and intercommunity community. For this reason, we need to see what kind of state is needed to prevent religious conflict. Now we will talk about how should a state prevent domination by any religious group. For a start, state must not run by the heads of any particular religion. A state governed directly by the priestly order is called theocratic. States run by ulemas and all. So Akbar rule was theocratic for the time being. Once the question was asked. Okay. Such papal states, European medieval times in recent times, Taliban controlled states lacking separation between. See, the book has been written way back, but true for the time being as well. That's why I said UPSC and the NCERTs are always relevant. History repeats. Lacking separation between the religious political institutions are known as for their hierarchies and operations and reluctance to allow freedom for the religion to the member of other religious group. Okay, in the Pakistan, even the Hindu people are reading that idolatry is something bad. Okay, so this is how it is. If we value peace, freedom, equality, religious institutions, state institutions must be separated. Now, this line itself gives answer of many things. If question is how to establish secularism, okay, or why secularism important, these fodders can be used. ठीक है. State institution different. I just simplified the things, whatever has been written over there. It can be linear flowchart as well. Got it? Some people think that separation of state and religion, this does not appear to be so. Many states which are non-theocratic continue to have close alliance with the particular. For example, states in England not run by the priestly class but clearly favor the Anglican Church and its members. So one of them, Pakistan. To be truly secular state must not only refuse to be theocratic but also have no formal legal alliance with any religion. The separation of religion and state is, however, a necessary but not a sufficient ingredient of secular state. A secular state must be committed to principles and goals which are the least party derived, non-religious sources. I'm not getting anything because these things are in my mind. Some of you might find this interesting. So you might enter in your notes. But also, after a certain time period, you will not find that interesting. So उस टाइम अगर नहीं लग रहा तो नोट्स में आप काट सकते हो उसी टाइम पे. No need to worry. You can just cut it off from your notes. These ends should be include peace, religious freedom. Whatever we have wrote over, this is being repeated. To promote these ends, state must be separated from organized religion, its institution. Keyword. Organized religion. What is organized religion? What is organized crime? पढ़ा तो सबने होगा. गूगल करने की हिम्मत नहीं करेंगे हम लोग. क्या करना है ये सब करके? Why should I do गूगल? आम ब्रह्मास्मि, हमें सब आता है. How? I will not touch it. I will just leave it up to you guys, whether you guys will open your Google Chrome or will just watch. However, there is no reason to suggest the separation to take a particular form. In fact, the nature and extent of separation may take different forms depending upon the specific values meant to promote and way their values are spelled out. Okay, the Western model. UPSC again and again are Western model versus Indian model. बार बार मांगता है तो मैं यहीं लिख दूंगा. So what I will do, generally how I study, I'm just telling you, not every note should be made on your paper, na. Some things on books itself, so that you just, when you are skimming the book, you can directly have the content. I will underline certain words. I will write opposite terms mentioned in Indian Constitution or Indian secularism per se over here. All secular states have one thing in common: they are neither theocratic nor do they establish them. However, in the most commonly prevalent conception, inspired mainly by the American model, separation of religion and state is under a mutual exclusion. Means हमारा धर्म से कोई लेना देना नहीं है. But India, we are intervening in the Muslim Sharia law. No triple talaq, get lost. No sati, get lost. So we are reforming religions. The state will not intervene in affairs of religion, and the same manner, religion will not interfere in the states. How religion interferes in the India? मस्जिद से ऐलान हो गया बीजेपी को वोट मत दो, मंदिर से ऐलान हो गया उधर वोट मत दो. That is how things are being run. Each has a separate sphere of its own independent jurisdiction. No policy of the state can have an exclusively religious rationale. Okay. For example, people say, I'm just underlining how your answer should be looking like GS2. Anyone can say, no one can favor any state. State should not favor any religion. But few people will say this way: no policy of state can have exclusively religious rationale. People say how to write technical terms, how it should religious exclusively religious rationale nahi hoga. That's it. I will just put a cross over here. That's my way. So you need not to necessarily make cross. You can directly write, but this is the important statement. That's what I tried to tell you. This particularly exclusively religious rationale. These three words are keywords for me. I should have used it in my answer writing if the question comes for the secularism. Similarly, the state cannot aid any religious institution. Basically, मैं वहाँ पे बात कर रहा हूँ. When people say ना, I'm writing generic answers. How should I make it GS2 looking? That's how you should make it GS2 looking. Similarly, the state cannot aid any religious institution. Cannot. जी मैं केजरीवाल हूं, मैं तो साफ कह रहा हूं, हम तन मन धन से वक्फ बोर्ड के लिए हैं, आप हमें बता दीजिएगा। देन फिर हम जो राम को लाए हैं हम उनको लाएंगे, ठीक है। It cannot give financial support to educational institution run by religious communities. Okay, we have article 2930 लिखा होगा कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में, हमारे बच्चों को क्या मतलब क्यूरियोसिटी बैच के। Nor can it be hinder the activities of religious communities as long as they are within the broad limits set by the law of land. If you are taking the government fund, we will certainly hinder. If your madrasa is using our fund, okay, you teach your religious practices, that is acceptable to us. Make sure you teach them mathematics and science as well. For example, if a religious institution forbids a woman for becoming a priest, then the state can do detail about it. India about to get entry to Sabrimala. If a religious community excommunicates a dissenter, the state can only be silent and witness. So this is not possible in India. Basically, examples दे रहे हैं. This common conception interprets freedom and equality in the individualist manner. On this view, religion is private matter, not a matter of state policy. Liberty is the liberty of individuals. Means you are more individualistic. I will write this word. I will write liberty. Then I will write freedom. Then I will write equality. Western secularism have this perspective. Don't go for my writing. I have already told you. Okay. Don't judge me. Okay. Equality is between the individuals. There is no scope for the idea that community has liberty to follow practice of its own choosing. Okay. The history of Western society tells us why this is so. Except for the presence of Jews, most of the Western societies were marked by the great deal of religious homogeneity. Homogeneity means सब Christian ही है. Given this fact that they naturally focused on the inter-religious domination, while the strict separation of the state from the church is emphasized to realize among the other things. ठीक है, the individual way. Finally, this form of mainstream structure has no place for idea of state-supported reform. I have already talked about state-supported reforms that we have conducted in India. Indian model sometimes shows that this is not the case. Indians have a fundamentally different Western secularism. Indian secularism does not focus only on the church-state separation. Idea of India religious equality is crucial. Indian question. Let us elaborate. So, जब मैं वर्सेस की बात कर रहा था ना, I will use this inter-religious equality. Inter-religious equality. Present. That's how I will unfold the things over here. What makes Indian secularism distinctive? For a start, it arose from the context of deep religious diversity that predated the advent of Western modern ideas and nationalism. There was already a culture inter-religious tolerance. So this word became a buzzword, I will say, in the last 3-4 years, but it was way before a buzzword for NCERT. That's why they have used inverted commas for the tolerance. However, tolerance is an ethical word as well. If you are tolerant, you are ethical. However, we must not forget that tolerance is compatible. So basically, why I'm bringing ethics again and again? Whenever secularism is something that ethical, nah. No one can force me to be secular. Okay. But yes, you are not secular, you are not discriminating for the others, even that is fine. However, we must not forget that tolerance is compatible with the religious domination. It may allow some space to everyone, but such freedom is usually limited. Besides, tolerance allows you to put up the people whom you find deeply repugnant. This is the great virtue of society is recovering from a major civil war, but not in times of peace where people are struggling for the equal dignity and respect. Okay, when there is a peace, no one be tolerant about each other, na? Okay. The advent of Western modernity brought to the fore hitherto neglected and marginalized notion of equality in Indian thought. It sharpened these ideas and helped us to focus on equality within the community. Ahmadiyya, Bora, Dalit, Vash, whatever it is, division. Okay? It assured the ideas of inter-community equality to replace the notion of hierarchy. Thus, Indian secularism took an existing form of result from interaction between what already existed in the society that had religious diversity and the ideas that came from the West. It resulted in equal focus on intra-religious and inter-religious domination. Western was not that case because they were homogeneous. Indian secularism equally opposed the oppression of Dalit women within the Hinduism. Generally, they are being ignored. मम्मी लास्ट में क्यों खाती है? No logic at all. But खाती है. The discrimination against the women within the Indian Islam or the Christianity and the possible threats that a majority community might pose the rights of minority religious communities. This is the first important difference from the mainstream Western secularism. Okay, connected to its second difference, India secularism does not deal only with the religious freedom of individuals, but also religious freedom of minority communities within it. An individual has right to profess the religion of his own choice. Likewise, religious minorities also have right to exist and maintain their own culture, educational institution. Again, Article 20, 1930, if someone can remember galti se. Why I'm writing all this? So that I can revise my article numbers. A third difference is since the secular state must be concerned equally with inter-religious domination, this secular has made room for is compatible with the idea of state-supported religious reform. I've already discussed again and again. So verses वाले में ही लिख दूंगा मैं ये सब. Okay, so I will go back. I will write here only. What it is, state-supported reforms. Why I am writing there? Because when I will read this book again, I will not go for the last page. It might be a case if I read first 2-3 pages, that only will ensure कि हाँ मुझे सब आता है. The question, however, arises. Sorry. Does the Indian Constitution bans untouchability? ठीक है, मतलब within वो उसमें हो गया. The question, however, that arises: Can a state initiate or even support religious reforms yet be secular? Yes, we are. Can a state claim to be secular? Yes. Okay, this allows the elder to disengage with the religion America or engage with the it if required. So, pursuit of, sorry, I should have not done this. The secular character of Indian state is established by the virtue fact that it is neither theocratic nor it has been enslaved any one or multiple religion. Beyond that, it has adopted very sophisticated policy. This is the key word. I should write this in my answer, na? Pursuit of religious equality. If this policy is not there, I'm missing something from the NCERT. Why are you reading NCERT if you are unable to extract these things? UPSC might ask the same in the prelims with one of the options. Now you will say whether there is some policy or not, or what is it. Are you getting it? The Indian state may engage with the religion negatively to oppose religious tyranny. Banning of triple talaq. Grant all religions minorities the right to establish maintain their own educational institution. Article number किसी को नहीं आता बहुत बढ़िया
29.
Good. Which may receive assistance from the state. All the complex strategies can be adopted by the state to promote values of pre-detected. It should be clear by now why the complexity of Indian supplements cannot be captured by phrase equal respect for all religions. Because whenever we find any deficiency, we correct it with the giving quality vitamins. If by this phrase is meant peaceful coexistence of all religions or inter-religious toleration, then this will not be enough because secularism is much more mere than peaceful coexistence. If this is the phrase means equal feeling of respect towards all established religion and their practices, then there is an ambiguity that needs to be clearing. Indian secularism allows for the principled state intervention. This is the key word. So if I have to write that, yes, we can bring reforms, we will say principled state intervention. That is how I'm going to write about it. Such intervention betrays disrespect to some aspects and every religion. For example, religious sanction task. The secular state does not have treat every aspect of religion. फालतू की बातें हैं. Repeated. Criticism Indian का anti-religious. Okay. We hope to have shown the similarity. Of course, it does not undermine the Western import that we have copied. We are diverse. We have just read that homogeneity is there. So I should be clear why this point is there. On the surface, there is a strange complaint for there are millions of the things in India today. Okay? The more important relevant point is that state to be truly secular, it must have ends of its own. Western states become secular when at important level they challenge the control of established religious authority, political life. The Western model secularism is not therefore the product of Christian world, but the claim that it is Western. The mutual exclusion of religion and religion and state, which is supposed to be the ideal Western secular society, it does not depend. I'm underlining what not important. I'm just it is the way of my reading sometimes. A secular state may be keep principal distance from the religion to promote peace between the communities, and it may also intervene to protect the rights of specific communities. This is exactly what happened in India. So जो हमने ऊपर लिखा है ये उसका जिस्ट है और कुछ नहीं है. ठीक है. Minoritism, a third accusation that secularism charge of minoritism or say appeasement. That Indians are advocates for minority rights, so justified consider four adults in the compartment of a train traveling the fastest speed imaginable in the middle of the journey. One of the four expresses the desire to smoke. The second one complains that he cannot wait the cigarette smoke. The other two passengers smoke too, but say nothing. Clearly, there is a conflict between the two passengers. A suggestion is made that it be resolved by vote. Two mild smokers go along with the addict, and the non-smoker is defeated by margin of 2 votes. कहानी है बस समझाने का minoritism. Now alter the situation bit. Suppose that the non-smoker suffers the asthma. Smoking can induce the life-threatening his presence. Now capture करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं यहाँ पे कुछ. तो कहानी है. I'm not going into details. A person has prior right to satisfaction of his or significant interest. What holds true for individuals also holds for the communities. Remember, individualistic Western model, and India is concerned with the communities. So this is kind of conclusion where we take middle path. What is true for individual is also true for community. For the better. Utilitarian concept. पढ़ा हो गया ethics में क्या करना है याद करके. The most fundamental interest of minorities must not be harmed, must be protected by constitutional law. This is exactly how it is in the Indian Constitution. Minority rights are justified as long as these rights protect their fundamental interest. Okay. At this point, someone might still say that minority rights are special privileges. Keyword: special privileges given to whom? Sometimes to women, sometimes to men, sometimes to. Fine. This question can be best answered by the another example. Consider that film is being. I will not read the example. वो वाला एग्जांपल है कि वो दिख रहा है उस पे एक बॉक्स रखा हुआ, आपने देखा होगा एनसीईआरटी के पीछे बना हुआ, नहीं देखा तो छोड़ दो, कुछ ज्यादा काम पे है नहीं. आई एम लीविंग बिकॉज believe me, I've read this एनसीईआरटी a number of times. This group is in majority in different mode. Okay, fine. Interventionist. Why are you intervening in any religion? Let it be. The fourth and the secularism is coercive and that interferes excessively in the religious freedom of communities. Example दिया, आगे फिर वही सब है. India permits the state-supported religious reform, but this should not be equated with the change imposed from the above within the course. But it we argue does it does consistently. क्या we do consistently? No, we do according to situation and demand of the situations. Examples. That's why underline. Okay, vote bank politics. इसमें भी हेल्प करता है. आई एम नॉट गोइंग टू एक्सप्लेन इट, ओके, क्योंकि ये कुछ है ही नहीं यहाँ पे, नथिंग टू बी स्पोकन. Impossible project because it tries to do too much. You are trying to keep even minority happy, you are trying to keep even show that yeah, this is not appeasement. So special privileges for one might sound beneficial, वाह 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 जिसे मिल रहा है, but for other it might sound appeasement. Then there starts polarization. Those who are feeling good this side, those who are feeling bad this side. Now two poles. Polarization, communalism, then riots, then police case. That is how it is. ठीक है. History of Indian civilization shows that this kind of living together is realizable. Now we are trying to say that Hindu-Muslim unity that we have shown. Okay, it was realized everywhere to the Ottoman Empire is staring example. Even the Ottoman Empire has similar kind of cultural relatedness with us. But now critics might say that coexistence under conditions of inequality was indeed possible. Everyone could find a place in a hierarchically arranged order. The point that they claim this will not work today, where equality is increasingly becoming dominant cultural value. Hierarchy means being dominated by one. Okay, suppose अभी फिलिस्तीन को पूरा इजराइल कंट्रोल कर ले, तो फिलिस्तीन को कहेगा मैं तुझे खाना दे रहा हूँ, हाँ फाइन, यू हैव नो अदर ऑप्शन ना. But now they are talking about the equality and also more about the individualism. Got it? So that is how it is. I have just underlined, I have not made any kind of notes. But this point is important for me. Remember, I will make this kind of arrow. So this is important from the main perspective. There is another way of responding to this criticism. Far from pursuing impossible objective, Indian secularism mirrors the future of world. Beautiful conclusion. जिनका conclusion खराब हो, देख लो थोड़ा सा. Read it again. There is another way of responding to this criticism. Far from pursuing an impossible objective, Indian secularism mirrors the future of world. सिर्फ यहां से भी लिख लोगे ना तो भी. A great experiment we carried out in India was the razor sharp eyes with a great interest by the whole world. It is doing because with the migration of people from the former colonies to West, the increased movement of people from the globe, intensification of globalization, Europe and America, some parts of Middle East, these societies are watching future of Indian experiment with the keen interest. Okay. With this, I will stop screen sharing first. Now, little question to you guys. How many of you felt that political theory when you were reading, you read nothing? How many of you are now demotivated? Now, now, are you able to relate or understand why I was asking you guys not to make any kind of notes? Many of you were too interested. I had too much of interest in the notes making and all. That's why I suggested not to make any kind of notes. The reason was the simple. Okay. So it's not that easy to make notes and all. Okay, first you should be clear. Okay, and NCRT is something you are, it's like I'm reading this NCRT for the sixth or seventh time in this chapter basically. That's why I was able to relate with so many things. Every time you read NCRT, you will be able to get something new. Every word has certain value, fundamentalism and all. Okay, so this is how it is. So somehow we took, I guess, 45 minutes, or say 40 minutes to read just one chapter and have a certain kind of quick notes. Okay. But I took 40 minutes because I had to explain the things. But if I have to make notes, really a notes in my third or fourth evening, it won't take more than 20-25 minutes. So once you are done with the targets, you can pick up your areas from where you have to start. Okay. From which perspective you have to make notes. Got it? Now, stopping myself over here. If any questions, just let me know. Yes, Karan.
सर पर्सपेक्टिव का मतलब क्या है कि मतलब नोट्स बनाने का कैसे मतलब किस पर्सपेक्टिव से मतलब क्या कैसे डिसाइड करेंगे कौन से पर्सपेक्टिव से पीवाईक्यू से या फिर
Syllabus point of view से
सिंपल बात
I will simply go to the syllabus. I will check. Okay, GS2 में पहला टॉपिक ये है. What are my resources? Okay, my resources are these three NCERTs, one Lakshmikant. I will go one by one. I will stick to that particular topic. Nothing else. If I have to make notes. Sometimes what I used to do, I used to make NCERT specific notes. Because what I feel once you are into integrated preparation, you never go for the syllabus and all. As I was integrating ethics and all. So that was the wholesome preparation from my side. So what I decided that I will go for the NCERT specific notes. Okay, then I used to utilize the same while writing the mains according to my strength. But reference book should be syllabus from the syllabus. For example, people start making low notes of Lakshmikant from the say nuclear policy of India. अरे have to do nothing यार IR पढ़ोगे कुछ याद हो जाएगा 4-5 पॉइंट ही हैं उसमें टोटल. So see simple logic. Moty book according to syllabus, patli book according to NCERT or whatever the topics they are covering. If the book is used, you better focus on NCERT. Sorry, syllabus.
ओके सर अंडरस्टूड
Okay. Anyone else? No? Yes, Gopal.
सर मेरा क्वेश्चन थोड़ा मतलब ये है कि सर वो ऑप्शन के नोट्स तो अपने बना रहा हूँ मतलब उसमें काफी टाइम भी जा रहा है और टारगेट्स भी कंप्लीट करने हैं सर उसमें भी टाइम जा रहा है अब सर मेरा मैं आपको बताया था कि जीएस2 के नोट्स मैंने बना लिए हैं और अगर जीएस3 के नोट्स भी बनाने जाऊंगा तो सर वो काफी टाइम लग जाएगा मतलब ऑप्शन के नोट्स भी बन रहे हैं और फिर जीएस3 के नोट्स भी तो अगर मेरे को किसी टॉपर के नोट्स मिलते हैं और उसके मेरे को समझ में आते हैं सिर्फ जीएस के लिए स्टैटिक वाले पार्ट के लिए तो उसको मैं रेफरेंस रख लूं और बाकी उसमें कुछ ऐड कर लूं अगर मेरे को लगता है कि मैं इसको यूज भी कर लूंगा समझ में भी आ रहा है और रिवाइज भी कर लूंगा.
Go ahead.
ठीक है सर।
और कोई? शरण?
सर ये मेंस में डिफरेंट थीम्स पे आता ना सर, वो कैसा नोट्स बनाना सर? ये मतलब
I am just repeating my question, directive again. If you are making notes from the NCERT, you can stick to the NCERT wise. Okay, it's not like that NCERT cannot be utilized. NCERT can be utilized in a number of ways. First, second, it's not about the different themes of mains. It's about the themes of syllabus. So you have to make your notes according to themes of syllabus. Question comes according to themes of syllabus. Okay, question do not comes according to themes of mains. We identify themes of questions under the sun or the heading of syllabus. That is what I'm telling you. Got it? Karan? Ayushi?
सर मेरा क्वेश्चन मेन 365 से रिलेटेड है। तो सर अभी जैसे हम लोग केवल रीड कर रहे हैं और जो पॉइंटर्स होते हैं, कॉजेज हो गए या कंक्लूजन हो गए, वे फॉरवर्ड हो गए, वो बहुत ढेर सारे होते हैं और उसमें एक्सप्लेनेशन भी काफी होता है। तो अगर कभी उससे एक आंसर लिखना हो तो मतलब हमको फिल्टरेशन कैसे लिखेंगे? क्योंकि आंसर में जो पॉइंटर्स होते हैं बहुत क्रिस्प होते हैं।
जो बोल्ड वाला पॉइंट होता है वही मेन पॉइंट होता है, उसके बाद राम कहानी जो लिखी है कोई काम की नहीं होती।
Yes, sir.
कृति?
सर मतलब हम लोग एनसीईआरटी पढ़े तो हम एनसीईआरटी में ही नोट्स बना सकते हैं? जरूरी है कि हम A4 शीट दे करके उसके नोट्स अलग से बनाएं? मतलब नोट्स इंटीग्रेट करना जरूरी है एक प्लेस पे या फिर हम अलग अलग भी रख सकते हैं?
Never. It's why I was writing on the NCERT itself. And number of times I will never make notes. I will skim through NCERTs. 10 minutes I can complete this NCERT if I get my NCERT back. Just tuck like this.
क्योंकि टाइम कम है तो उसमें मुझे लगता है कि
हाँ?
एनसीईआरटी पे ही बना दो।
Exactly. That's why I showed you live, na? I remember that Western versus India. Why I said that? I will just read my NCERT only, na? Okay, Gopal.
सर मेरा एक GS3 से रिलेटेड डाउट है सर। एक्शन एजेंडा है सर नीति आयोग का, तो सर उसके नोट्स बना, मतलब मैंने देखा था, मेरे को लगा था इसके नोट्स बनाने चाहिए। तो सर मेरा डाउट ये है कि उसके पॉइंट निकाल के GS3 के जो नोट्स बना रहा हूँ उसमें इंटीग्रेट करूँ या फिर एक्शन एजेंडा का एक अलग ही डॉक्यूमेंट क्रिएट करूँ?
That will be common for the GS2 as well. So better to have a different agenda and limit these things. Limit these things. You will find n number of things. Since you have the base, I am recommending you to go ahead. Had it been some other fellow, I would not have recommended the same. Because
ठीक है सर।
it's not about to go here and there. Somehow action agenda will be covered in the some reports, some news articles, some current affairs magazine in a way or other.
तो सर फिर मैं जाऊं उसके लिए या फिर ना जाऊं? मतलब अभी
कितने
मैंने
पेज का
स्टार्ट
है?
नहीं करा
कितने पेज का है?
सर। 150 या 218 समथिंग ऐसा कुछ है सर।
यार 115 and 218 is a huge difference. If 150
मतलब मेरे को ऐसा, हाँ सर उसमें दो डॉक्यूमेंट है। एक तो वो नीति आयोग का 75 इयर्स वाला, तो उसमें कंफ्यूजन है कि कौन सा
75 year
200।
strategy document is still relevant, but
हाँ,
agenda document I do not know.
तो इसके ना बनाऊं सर?
ये तो बात काम ही है यार, वो कुछ ना कुछ छापेगा, कितना नोट्स बनाएगा, बुढ़ा हो जाएगा और
ठीक है
कुछ
सर।
होगा नहीं उसका।
ठीक है सर।
Fine. Anyone else? Done and dusted? Okay, so somehow this session was supposed to conducted yesterday, but I got stuck in one of the conferences and it was delayed. We are about to meet tomorrow as well, most likely. I will confirm early in the morning. That's why I'm telling you in the web, recording itself. Those who will watch recording. So it might be a case that we are meeting tomorrow And if we meet tomorrow, it will be the same time, 9:30 p.m. Tomorrow we will be discussing certain questions. And another direction, I have already told you guys that it might be a case that Monday, Tuesday, I will not post any question. It was the case. Then still you guys were messaging like questions are not there, questions are not there. हद हो गई यार. If I'm planning something, I've already told you what to do else. Do let me know. Okay. Fine. So questions are posted today. Questions will be there till Sunday. Okay. Then again, it might be a 1 day or 2 day break. But again, we will start with ethics only then from next week onwards. So if we are meeting tomorrow or day after tomorrow, whatever be it, I'll let you know. Okay. We are going to conduct some sessions on the ethics theory part. Okay. So that's all from my side. Chalo then. Good night. See you.